Si Mukam karoti vachalam pagulangayate girim yakrapatamaham bande Sri Dinatarinam. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadwaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. I can put the questions in the chat if you'd like to look at them. Actually, I can just send this document to Chaitanya Dasi. And she can do that. Actually, no, on my email's not even open, so I will do it. The last weekend, not this, the weekend before last, we did a course for the Chinese devotees. And they had some questions. And we will look at those questions and discuss them. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Those of you who took the course yesterday, some of you have taken it for the second, third, or fourth, or fifth time. And the response I'm getting is, we can never take it enough. It's like, there's like layers and layers to dig out. So, first question, I allow myself to be imperfect, but ask others to be more perfect. Why is that? Because it's more difficult to change ourselves than it is to change others. And I was thinking this morning how often it's very difficult to notice what's wrong with ourselves, and very easy, obviously, to notice what's wrong with another, because our eyes go out, they don't go in. So we notice what's in front of us more than what's more about us. Or as Prabhupada would often say, you can't see your own eyelid or eyelashes, even though they're right on your eye. Or as we said in another class, you may have bad breath and your nose is right here and everybody smells it but you. And there's also false ego, pride doesn't allow us to notice our imperfections, or if we do, we always don't want to deal with these things. That doesn't make us feel good often to think about how imperfect we are, so we'd rather avoid it. And it can often make us feel bad to see how imperfect someone else is. And so we want to change them, right? I'm going to give you an example, and I don't know if it's entirely true because I don't have this experience, but I'm imagining that if you are overweight, and none of you look like you're overweight, so maybe none of us will know, but I would imagine if you're overweight, you don't like looking at overweight people because it would remind you that you're overweight. And perhaps you can relate to that with some flaw, imperfection that you have. It may be very disturbing to see another person who has it because you don't want to think about it, and they're making you think about it by allowing you, causing you to see yourself and them. Any of you have that experience? And then you may not like the person because they remind you of what you don't like about yourself. So if you could change that person, it would make you feel better. Like if you're overweight, if you could change that person so they're not overweight, then you don't have to see another overweight person who reminds you that you're overweight. So I think sometimes also we want to change people because we can't change ourselves, and they're the only ones that we think we could change. Parents do that a lot. They fail in some aspect of their life and they want their kids to succeed because they couldn't. But the fundamental answer is it's very difficult to change ourselves. And much easier, at least to try to change another person. So I think this devotee in asking this question was saying that she's accepted her imperfection, but she wants to change others. I don't know if she's accepted her imperfection, if she's very upset about others. And I mean, look at Srila Prabhupada. I mean, look how imperfect we must have looked to him and how he was not bothered by it because he's already perfect. So why would he be bothered by others who are not perfect? And then part of this question, and we had discussed this, and it's also quite interesting. She said, I want others to be perfect. Okay, but then you have another problem. What if everybody in the world is perfect except you? How would you feel? So you might say, I want others to be perfect. Well, just imagine they all were. That could make you very depressed because I'm the only one who's not perfect, right? So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta said that when you view the faults of others, it can actually be very destructive for you. It can delude you, it can bewilder you, it can deviate you, it can upset you. And I've said before that I think part of the problem that we face today in the world is that upset is our normal state. And so we don't even notice that we're upset because we're always upset. Like if I tell you, everyone, just breathe deeply now. Okay, everybody, just deep breathe. Take a deep breath. Just relax. Take another deep breath. Stress. Just now you realize how stressed you were. You didn't notice that before, right? Isn't it? You say, oh, that feels good. I'm releasing stress. Yeah, because you might always be in stress to the point that that's normal, so you don't know. So, so that could be a problem. That we don't really even understand ourselves. I think some people don't want to understand themselves. I think that's unfortunate. What makes us move, what makes us do things is very important, especially for devotees. So if here's another question. What if everyone in the world was better than you? Would you acknowledge that? Probably not. So we're saying, well, we might say, I don't like it when people are imperfect. I want them to be perfect. Would you acknowledge that they're perfect if you were not? Maybe not. So, what I'm trying to make the point that there's not a happy medium in this world because we're trying to be happy in very artificial ways, pulling people down or saying we need people to be better because I don't like looking at your imperfections. Okay, I'll become a Siddha yogi and I have only perfections. Now you'll be envious of me. Like, where is your point? Where is your point? We're going to be happy. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta says, we're bewildered and deluded by others' faults. And my point that I was making is we're always kind of bewildered and deluded and we don't even know it because it's a normal state. Yesterday in the workshop, I had promised devotees, well, on Saturday, I had promised devotees, I will make you aware of things, or I will try to make you aware of things you're not aware of. And so many people in the workshop said, I wasn't aware, you've made me realize, well, unfortunately, something bad about yourself, which is, fortunately, it's good, but immediately it's like getting a tooth pulled. doesn't feel good. But a lot of us are not very self-aware, so there's so much about us we don't know. And how do you know you're sick if you're always sick? If you don't know what health is, and you only know sickness, you only know stress, you only know envy, then how do you even know what envy is? Because it becomes normal for you. So introspection is to kind of to become aware of this state we're in that we may have taken for granted or become oblivious to. So anyway, when are you going to be happy? When everyone's perfect? Or when you're the only perfect one and everyone's not perfect? Like, what's going to make you happy? The answer is neither. You know what's going to make you happy? See these beads? Keep them oiled. That'll make you happy. Keep those beads moving. That will make you happy. I was seeing an interview today with this man. I don't know who it was. I think he's a famous rock star or something. And he made a point. He said, the thought is that when I achieve success, it's going to solve all my problems. Of course, it doesn't. If you don't like yourself after you become successful, you still won't like yourself. That's not the way to. If you're not happy when you become successful, yeah, you'll be high for a few days, get your gold medal and have a party, but you have to live with you. That could be a problem. You have to live with you. So the more you know you, the more you know why you do things and what's causing you to do things you don't want to do, then you can work on those. And all these things we do that we don't want to do, we all learn to do in this life earlier in other lives. And like most people, we just do them. We don't try to interfere with them. We just allow ourselves to do them. And like many people, we think that's just how I am. And I've always been that way. And I probably always will be that way. And so we're kind of pulled around. And we're so used to being pulled around, we think we're free. Icha dvesha samutena, Krishna says, attraction and repulsion. It's felt by embodied beings. What does that mean? Attracted to something, repulsed by something. I want that. I don't want that. Give me this. Get away. Our whole life is give me this. Get away from that. You make me feel yucky. Get away. Oh, that looks good. I want it. I don't like you anymore. Leave me. I like you. Come. That's our whole life is like that. And so if we don't examine our life, if we don't understand these things, it just keeps happening and we're not even aware of it. Hare Krishna. You all look really depressed now. You're going, yeah, that sounds like you just described me. Oh my God. Now what do? I need to go to the psychiatrist and get my psychotropic antidepressants. I hope not. Okay. We're going to question number 2. Some of these questions, I think, are applicable more to China than other places. I can follow the 4 principles, but I haven't been able to eat only prasadam, and still I have the desire to eat non-devotees' food. How to give up this bad habit? There's a beautiful explanation in the Srimad Bhagavatam, I believe, or somewhere, where Prabhupada said, and this sounds funny, Prabhupada said, devotees do the austerity of only eating prasadam. And you might think, what kind of austerity is that? Only eating prasadam. But if you just try to only eat prasadam, you realize there are opportunities not to only eat prasadam. And sometimes you're in a rush and you just think, I'll offer to my mind. Donald Trump now is, he has all these classified documents that are supposed to be kept in secret. And he said, I declassified them in my mind. Like, okay, now they're they're not top secret documents anymore. So, sometimes we offer in our mind, what's prasadam? How to become prasadam? I made it prasadam. Hare Krishna. Although Prabhupada once told me, he said you could offer in your mind, which means, you say the prayers in your mind, but not like, okay, I don't have time to offer Krishna, forgive me. Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu. Take your, little magic wand. I have Lord Jagannath's toothbrush. I just touch it, Now it's prasadam. So it is an austerity to only eat prasadam, isn't it? Okay, here's the answer to this question. It's a broad answer. The principle of self-care is do everything which is helpful for you. Don't do anything which is harmful for you. So now you're trying to be a devotee. You're trying to move closer to Krishna, closer to Krishna's teachings, closer to the devotees, follow the practices and so on. You will need the right consciousness to be able to do that. If you don't have the right consciousness, it's going to be difficult. If you cultivate wrong ideas, if you have association which is not healthy, you're affecting your consciousness in a negative way. And so now you're handicapped. So it's like you're going to run a race, okay? And you decide, you get this brilliant idea before the race, I'm going to put 5-pound weights on my ankles. Like, brilliant idea, right? And then I'm going to run the race. Maybe it's a good idea if you're exercising, but not to win a race. So I don't think you would do that, would you? So why would you do that in Bhakti? Put 5-pound weights on your ankles and you're trying to walk up the Mount Everest of Bhakti by doing things which weigh you down, such as eating food, which contaminates your consciousness. So we have an altar, we put everything on the altar, we ask Krishna, please accept this. It becomes prasadam. That prasadam purifies our consciousness. It makes it easier for us. If it's not offered, it makes it more difficult. So why, if you're trying to go somewhere, would you put weights on your feet and make it difficult for you? It doesn't make any sense. You're just harming yourself. You're making your life difficult. A lot of students, they wait till the night before the exam to start studying. And they take their amphetamines and they stay up all night. And so their parents are looking at this and saying, why are you torturing yourself like this? This doesn't make sense. Why didn't you study during the semester? Now you're taking amphetamines and staying up all night and totally stress out and trying to remember 100 facts so you can regurgitate them for the test. So like, why are you making it difficult on yourself? Parents will think that way. So we need to ask that question to ourselves. Why are you making this difficult for yourself? If this is not helping you, and just because you like to eat something, that's fine. As long as you can offer it, it's fine, just offer it. The question here may be beyond meat, fish, and eggs, because a lot of people coming to Krishna consciousness in China have a difficult time giving up eggs for some reason. So that could be there also. But I would give the same answer, that if I like something, but that something is detrimental to my bhakti, and I should like Krishna, I should like becoming Krishna conscious more than I like that something. And if I like that something more than I like becoming Krishna conscious, what am I going to do? I'm going to do that something. And if I like Krishna consciousness more than I like that something, then I can give up that something. Yesterday's lemon water with ginger, and I'm afraid if I drink this, I might be breaking one of the regulative principles. So we're going to have to throw that out. Although I just want you to know, if you eat a lot of sugar, you're probably going to getting more alcohol than a half a cup of wine, although I'm not saying it's okay to drink wine, but we may be breaking principles by eating too much sugar and not realize it. Hare Krishna. I'll do a Facebook post. If you eat too much sugar, you're breaking one of the 4 regs. So, do you like Krishna more than you like your anarthas, or do you like your anarthas more than you like Krishna? You like your bad habits better than you like Krishna, or you like Krishna better than your bad habits? So when you like Krishna better than your bad habits, you give up your bad habits. And when you like your bad habits more than you want to be Krishna conscious, you stay with your bad habits. She's asking how to give up this bad habit. My generic answer is love yourself more, and then you'll do less self-damaging things. It's hard to break habits. You know that. You have to have a really good reason to break it. But if you have more self-care, more self-love, why would you do things? You're trying to go somewhere. You're trying to go back to Krishna. Why would you do something that's making it difficult to go to the very place you want to go? It doesn't make sense. It's like my house it's about 45-second walk up here. Why would I walk on my hands and knees to go up there? Does that make any sense? Like, I have to go into the house. I have to use the restroom. I'll be back in 15 minutes. And you go, but your house is only 45 seconds. No, I'm going to walk on my hands and knees. And you'll think, what happened? That drink, he said, yeah, that drink has affected him now. He's not thinking straight. You shouldn't drink yesterday's lemon ginger water. So in the same way, we have to, it's good to look at yourself and just be objective about yourself, that if I do this, it's going to be harmful for my spiritual life, and I want to be Krishna conscious. So why am I doing this? It doesn't make any sense, does it? It's like, it's just a crazy idea. And so we have to, we have to see things that way. And ask ourselves questions like, well, my dear self, what do you really want? You want that donut from the store down the street more than you want good japa? Like, what do you really want? What's important to you? Oh, sometimes my japa is really bad. My mind is, yeah, what did you eat yesterday? Well, I did eat 3 pizza pies at midnight. Yeah, that could have an effect on your japa. So you want, if you want to chant well, you might not want to eat 3 pizza pies at night. At least not at midnight, not after 6, and only a half a pie, not 3. That just makes sense. You want to go win the boxing match tomorrow. You're not going to go to a party tonight. I hope not. Because if you do, you're going to lose. It doesn't make sense. Okay, I think that's clear. Only do what is favorable for your devotional service. Give up what is not favorable. That is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. If you follow that principle, you will find being Krishna conscious is quite easy. If you don't follow that principle, you will find it can be difficult at times. So this one it's an interesting question because it's a little off topic in a sense. I'll try to bring it to topic. I don't know what my talent is. How do I find my talent? When we say I don't know what my talent is, I think it can mean we are really out of touch with ourselves, and we've always allowed other people to tell us everything about us, who we are, what to do, what we shouldn't do, what to eat, what not to eat. We're so used to being told that we can't even understand who we are, or we've been made to feel guilty about who we are, because who we are is not who my Uncle Harry wants me to be, or Uncle Hari if you're in India. He doesn't want me to be. He doesn't want me to be that way, and if Uncle Harry's not happy, then my parents won't be happy, and then my life will be miserable. So you could be, you could be raised to just not even think about your own needs and your talents and like that, because if you did, a bomb would drop on your head, because either you're going to be an engineer, doctor, or lawyer, or we'll never talk to you again. So you never even had a frame where you even ever thought about what you wanted to do. So that could be a reason. As we've talked about, that is common in certain cultures, in certain families. There's peer pressure. Well, I just want to be a poet. I'm like, well, yeah. Well, what are you going to eat if you just want to be a poet? Like you have to make money, So, okay, forget that idea. So then I suppressed that. I was thinking about the temple. I don't know why. We have a temple in Houston, Texas, one of the most beautiful temples in America. And I was thinking, when I was there like 20 years ago, we were at a festival and we were coming home with a daughter, was like 17 years old, the daughter of some devotees. And we said, how's it going? And she said, not really well. And I said, why? She said, because I want to be a photographer and my parents are having a heart attack and a stroke and a nervous breakdown simultaneously, because I told them I want to be a photographer, and they want her to be most likely take up a profession where she can earn well. So, with those experiences, sometimes it can shut us down so we don't even know. And I actually take this question, like, what is my talent? I don't know. Similar to a question like, Prabhu, could you tell me what to eat? I don't know what I like to eat. I'm thinking, what? I have to tell you what you like to eat? You don't know. No, I don't know what I like to eat. I have no idea. You need to tell me what I like to eat. I think that question is a little bit like that. You don't know what you're like. You don't know what you're good at. You don't know what you like to do. If you don't, you've been conditioned to like disassociate from who you are in order to please other people, that or order for prestige sake, so people will respect you. That's my theory. Maybe I should write a book. And the title of the book will be, I don't know what I like to eat. And that'll be the preface of the book, what I just said. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the word emotion means energy in motion. Energy. So boredom means there's no emotion. Have you noticed that when you're bored, your emotions have, like, I don't know, they're in the refrigerator or something, they're frozen, and you kind of look like, we're looking at you and go, is she dead or alive? I can't tell. She's breathing, but she looks like she's dead. Like that. You're like, there's no energy, no emotion. But when you find something you like to do, then energy comes to your body, isn't it? Like, I have this problem now. Like, I'm so energized by what I've been doing recently that I can't get up past 4 a.m. And last night I went to bed at midnight and I was working on things up till midnight. And I was like, how come I got up at 4 o'clock? I should be tired. Like, but if I have, like, if things slow down and, the only thing I'm doing is like dealing with people's problems and this and that, then the energy level goes down. Have you noticed that? You get inspired, it's like emotion. There's more when you're engaged with what you like to do, there's more energy because there's more emotion. Emotion is the cause of energy. You're feeling attracted to this. You're feeling inspired by it. You're feeling you want to do it. So then I consider, how is it possible that somebody wouldn't know what they're inspired to do? Do you know what you don't like to do? You know what you don't like to do. 100% you know that, don't you? Because when you do it, you stop doing it. You can't do it. You just like stare at the computer. this number in this column, and that number in that column, this number in that column. I'm supposed to match them up in the columns. I just want to do a painting. I don't want to look at numbers. It's not, I know that's not me. So why wouldn't you know what is you? Well, if that's not you, what is? Well, what inspires you? What gives you energy? Think of something, if you could do it, that would energize you. You think, yeah, I would be so inspired to do this. I would love to do this. And probably it's something you did when you were young. So that was my long answer. Here's my short answer to your question. I don't know what my talent is. Call up your mother right now and say, Mother, what did I do when I was a kid? What did I like to do? And your mother goes, you did paintings all day. All you did was draw paintings day and night. All you did was write poetry. All you did was sing songs. All you did was take things apart and put them back together. All you did was build things. All you did was mathematics. You're like, what did you do? That's your like machine, your body. What did it do? What did your mind do? What did it think about? What did you like to do? I went to stay at this house of some devotees, and their daughter was like 3 years old. And they said their daughter dances on every table in their house. She just jumps on tables and dances, jumps on the dining table and dances. She goes everywhere and dances. Like, oh, okay. Let me think. Maybe she's a dancer. Maybe, who knows? It's like parents, you should look at your kids and see what they do and go, oh, she's an artist. Oh, she's a writer. And people, sometimes devotees say, I don't know what to do. And I go, well, do you do art? Yeah. Well, I have like 3,000 books of my artwork. And they're saying, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't understand. Like, why? Who has shut you down so much that you know what you are, but you don't know what you are? Isn't that sad? For more elaboration on this topic, I recommend the movie The Three Idiots. It's a social commentary on this exact problem, and it's quite funny. And I told you the story of how I saw it in Hindi. I didn't even see it in English. Hindi, janta nahi. And I ended up in a movie theater by accident. And I saw it was not planned. You all know I'm completely detached from everything. It wasn't planned. And I ended up watching this movie. And it was exactly about this. So another answer to this question is, you know what inspires you, right? Sometimes this question is asked. If there's no obstacle to doing what you wanted to do, and money was not an issue, you didn't have to work for money, like, what would you do? And they're like, oh, well, if I didn't have to work for money, then now you know, right? Because it's all, well, I can't do this and I can't do that because there's no money. Okay, drop the money. If you could just do anything. No, but I can't do anything. All right, you can, for the sake of answering this question, if you could do anything and money was not an issue, you didn't have to support yourself with it, and there were resources and people to help you, what would you do? And then all of a sudden people start like, oh, well, in that case, I would do this. I would do that. And it starts to become easy, doesn't it? Because you remove all these factors. But how could I make money? And what would my mother think? And my Uncle Harry will commit suicide if I become a photographer, and this and that. And how am I going to pay for my new Tesla, unless I get a job at, Google. So once you remove that, you start to see. But for all of you, I would just say, what do you want to do for Krishna? What would inspire you? What motivates you? Right? Okay, the last thing, and I've told you this before, it is so interesting and sad. I had a disciple who used to write me emails periodically. And the emails were like mini books. It took like 10 minutes to read it. And so I wrote her and I said, in the future, everything you want to tell me, you have to fit in 5 sentences because you can go on forever. You know, it's like I always tell people, like, everything you want to tell me in email, I got to see it on one screen because if I have to scroll down, it's like, that's too much work for me. If there's so many emails, like I don't have time to like scroll because like scrolling is like, oh my God, this is so long. So I have to be able to read it in like 30 seconds. And that's why if you ever do mass emails and trying to get people to do anything, make sure you fit the whole message in a screen that they can see. Because if they look at that screen and they can see it, they go, okay, I can read that. But beyond that, they're like, delete it. It's too much. So I said to this devotee, I said, do you know that you're a writer? And she said, no. I said, hello. Nobody writes mini autobiographies in emails unless they're writers. And it's like perfect. There is not one mistake in it. It's, ready to publish, an email ready to publish, not one error. And you didn't know you were a writer? Like what happened? And I'm sorry to say she did not become a writer. She became something else because it's a good job and she could make a lot of money. And that's what her parents want her to do. And she's obedient to her parents. I don't know if it was the best thing or not, but that's another topic. But she didn't know she was a writer. Like, how could you not know? Right? Let's say you like to rap, right? So whenever something's happening, you just start making up rap lines. You start singing, you gotta go because it's too late to show and your mother's calling you, so you better know that. And you're doing that. And I say, wow, you're a poet. And you're like, no, I'm not. What do you mean I'm a poet? And like that doesn't make sense, right? Like, how could you not know? Because you speak in poetry all the time. So that's very sad. And that's my answer to this question. And then if you want to watch the Three Idiots, don't say I told you, I recommended it, because then I'll get my guru license revoked for recommending such things. But probably most of you have already seen it. All those in Indian bodies have seen it, right? Okay, if you're Indian, raise your hand if you have not seen it. No hands are going to go in. Well, maybe Hari Bhakti, maybe he has. So far, no Indians have not seen it. Yeah, Hari Bhakti included. Well, if you want to understand something about Indian culture, yeah, you can watch it. But parents, my message to parents is observe your children. See what they do. I predicted my daughter's occupation and she was denying it her whole life. And she finally surrendered to it because she realized she was trying to avoid it because I was telling her what she is because I could see her nature. And so, if you allow yourself to manifest your nature, then it will naturally manifest, right? Hare Krishna. Okay, next question. If someone who only blames others and never dares or refuses to face reality when something goes wrong, does not believe it is their own mistake, is such a person extremely low self-esteem? How can we help them? No, that person has Trump Shakti. You know about Trump Shakti? Have you heard about Trump Shakti? Trump Shakti is a phrase, I just made it up. So that's why you never heard about it. Trump Shakti is a mental disorder where no matter what you do, you think it's right, even if it's not. That's called Trump. Well, it's called Trump personality disorder, something like that. But I think most politicians have that same disorder, like whatever you do, it's right, even when it's not. And if it's not right, the way you prove you're innocent is to find other people who made the same mistake and say, go get them. Your parents tell you, stop doing that, that's wrong. And you say, Yeah, but my brother's doing it. Like, what kind of defense is that? You know, two wrongs don't make it right. So, does a person have low self-esteem? That is one possibility. Extreme arrogance is another possibility, which really is extreme arrogance is low self-esteem, just making up for low self-esteem on the other side of it. It's called high self-esteem. It's higher than your self-esteem is either higher than you are or lower than you are. You're like here. Arrogance means you think you're here. Low self-esteem means you think you're here, but you're actually here. So it's also, I would say, immature emotional developmental stage. When we want to blame everybody, because if I blame you for my problem, that means I don't have to do anything. So it fosters irresponsibility. And so that's a very immature way of dealing with problems, because you really can't solve them if they're not your fault. So it's your fault, Chaitanya Dasi. And until you get your act together, my life is going to be hell, because my hellish life is all her fault, because she hasn't sent me $1 million yet. So I'm waiting for her to send me $1 million. And the reason I'm poor is because she hasn't sent me the money. Okay. So now what's going to happen to you? You'll stay poor your entire life, until you admit that your poverty is actually caused by your own actions, and now you can do something. So it's a form of emotional maturity. Could be caused by low self-esteem. It could be caused by other things, but it could be caused by false ego also, because we don't want to admit mistakes. Because as we all know, we are fantastic, phenomenal, amazing human beings who couldn't really possibly ever make a mistake. And if we ever do make a mistake, the only mistake we'll ever make is to mistakenly think that we made a mistake. Other than that, like the joke is, I thought I made a mistake. I once thought I made a mistake, but I didn't. But I thought I made a mistake, and that was my mistake. So that's the false ego. You understand? The only mistake I ever made was I thought I made one, but I didn't. So the false ego is such that, yes, it doesn't want to acknowledge its own fault. This is very, very bad for bhakti. Now, it's very common in marriage. When you're married, or when you get married, please do not fall into this trap. The trap is, all the problems in our marriage are because of you. Have any of you married people heard that line or said that before? If you ever say that, take it back. And if you ever say that, realize that it's just not like that. It takes two to tango. If you don't know what that means, is tango is a dance. It takes two people to do that dance. Okay. A lot of people have left ISKCON because some leader was not perfect. Have you seen that? Why'd you give up your spiritual life? Because of him. It's his fault. That's why I gave it up. Why did you stop chanting? Because of that Prabhu over there. Because he, steals the Maha at night, and the temple president doesn't stop him. That's it. I'm finished. I've sent my japa beads back to my guru. It's over. Have you seen that? Those things actually happen. Like, why would you want to live that way, where you allow other people to affect you so much? So, I think that should be clear to all of you. I'm responsible for my consciousness. Nobody else is. I can blame other people for how I feel, but other people are not responsible for how I feel. I am responsible for how I feel. You make me feel so No, nobody can make you feel anything unless you allow them to. You are responsible for how you feel. And if you were not responsible, the law of karma would have to be flushed down the toilet. So I'm not responsible for how I feel. I just feel this way. Okay, you go karma free today, even though you're screaming and yelling at every person you see. Today it's karma free because you can't control it. There's all these other crazy people are making you scream. So no karma for that. It's not like that, is it? Somebody sent me something. Oh, hold on. Who sent this to me? Oh, it's beautiful. But I can't remember who sent it. But maybe we'll get lucky and I'll find it. Exactly about this. Or maybe it was one of you who sent it. It was from a show with Jay Shetty. He interviewed someone and someone said something about this. Maybe Gurnishta sent it. No. Maybe. Hmm. 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 Oh, I don't want to waste your time. I don't think I'll be able to find it. You ever had that problem? You didn't save something and you're looking for it and you're trying to remember who sent it to you? I guess it wasn't one of you guys because you would tell me, right? Nobody has said anything. Hmm. 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 Wasn't you, Chaitanya Das? Maybe one of you sent it and you forgot. Anyway, it was an example of oh yeah, I said, you holding a cup of coffee and someone knocks into you, right? And you spill the coffee and you go, it's your fault. It's your fault that this coffee spilled all over me. And he said, no, it's not his fault, because if you would have had water in your cup, then it would only be water that spilled all over you. So the person just hit your arm and then whatever was in your cup spilled on you. So if somebody hits your arm and what's in your cup is like something good, then something good spills on you. And if something bad is in your cup, something bad spills on you. So, it's not their fault that you had the hot coffee. You could have had, ice water on a hot day and you would have been cooled off and it wouldn't ruin your clothes. So that's a good example, right? You like that example? Yeah, I thought that was good. Yeah. It's your fault. Yeah. So, like we give the example. So when they bumped into Jesus, what spilled out of his cup? Tolerance, compassion. I have a comment here. Let's wait for the comments so I can get through these questions. Although at the rate I'm going, we may not get through them all, but we might. Then we can go back to the questions. Your questions. If there is a young devotee who looks at you with a condescending attitude and disdainful eyes, I think it means disdain, yes. Disdainful eyes, forcing you to engage in certain services that you cannot complete, and even arbitrarily arranging services for your underage children in unfamiliar places. And with a strong tone from a leader, he said to you, the devotee must serve. And at this moment, your body's experiencing various discomfort. It needs rest. From the perspective of self-care, how would you respond to such unexpected events at this time? Thank you for your guidance. Well, I know how I would respond, but I don't know if that's going to work for you because I don't know this devotee. I don't know what he expects from you. But I am a firm believer in being as honest as possible and as real as possible and expressing oneself and just say, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm stressed out, I'm going through this situation. I would love to be able to do this, but I know that if I do this, it's going to have this negative effect on me. That generally is not what you say if you're a brahmachari living in a temple. If you're a brahmachari living in the temple, you say, yes, Prabhu, and that's all you say. And if you don't want to say, yes, Prabhu, you move out of the temple. So, but you could say, yes, Prabhu, but is it possible, I haven't slept in the last 36 hours. Could I take a little nap before I do this? Of course, you can say these things. I would say to that devotee, everything you said is absolutely 100% correct. Thank you for that wonderful, amazing advice. You're such a great devotee, but I have this problem, A, B, C, D. And because you're so kind and considerate and loving and gentle, I know you will totally understand my situation. And I'm so happy to serve and I want to serve. And once I recuperate, then everything will be good. That's what I would say. And if this happens a lot, you should probably write it out and memorize your script. So when it happens, you can just say it. Sometimes you have to be diplomatic in Krishna consciousness. It's just the reality. We're in the material world, But, people should know what your capabilities are. And maybe you have some personal difficulties that they don't know about that they should. Okay, we'll go to the next question. So we've discussed 5 questions and there are only 4 more, so we can get through this. Oh, I was sending the question. You all didn't get to see that question because okay. Punish oneself for others' mistakes. This has a premise that it is definitely someone else's mistake. But sometimes it's not entirely certain that this is someone else's mistake. And it's possible that there may be some areas where I didn't do well myself. I just instinctively reject others' inappropriate actions. So how to clearly identify that this is someone else's mistake? Because some people are not sincere and may argue for themselves, but I cannot distinguish clearly. After distinguishing, one may not punish oneself for others' mistakes and may have a more compassionate heart. Yeah. So there's 2 points I would like to make. The point that's being made is correct. Maybe it's not actually a mistake and you think it's a mistake. Okay. So let's take that point at face value. You didn't do something wrong and I think you did, and I'm punishing myself for my perception of your mistake. So it's the same thing. Whether you made a mistake or I perceive that you made a mistake, your mistake is now in my mind. It's upsetting me. And I'm suffering because I'm upset with you. So that's one thing. And it's a beautiful question. This devotee is proposing a question. We can ask ourselves, is it this devotee has made a mistake? It's upsetting me. Is it actually a mistake, or do I just see it like that? Or is it that I'm just upset because I make that mistake? Or why am I looking at this like a mistake? What's the reason? So you can ask yourself those questions. But inherent within the consciousness that I'm not going to punish myself for other people's mistakes is this ability to not even see those things as mistakes. Because if I don't want to punish myself for your mistake, maybe proactively, I will adjust my thinking to not even see mistakes. That way I don't have to protect myself from your mistakes. I'd rather not even see you doing mistakes. So that also evolves in time with more self-care. That like, you may make a mistake, but I personally just want to see your good qualities. So I won't even go there that you're making mistakes. I won't even see them. So then I don't have to punish myself for your mistake because I'll never see one. So that can be there also. And then the point she's making, is it actually a mistake that they're making? Maybe I'm just making it up. And then why would I be making it up? That's another question. It's all part of introspection. So this devotee is saying, I can't distinguish whether I'm just seeing a mistake or they're actually making it. And I would say then better just consider that the problem is that you're criticizing them and don't worry about whether they're making a mistake or not. Okay. So here's one other point. We've talked about this other point a lot. If I look at Chaitanya Dasi and I think, mistake, Chaitanya Dasi made a mistake. I know that is impossible for her to make a mistake. It's never happened, but I just say that she makes a mistake. And then I ask myself the question, what's wrong with me that I need to point out her mistakes? Whether it's real or not, I can ask myself this question. Why do I need to focus on her mistakes? Let's say it's not real. Why do I need to make up a mistake and focus on a mistake that she didn't even make? If it is a real mistake, why do I need to focus on it? So at that point, it won't matter if it's real or perceived. It's just, the question is, why do I need? The problem is, I need to find fault. Why do I need to find fault? That's what I want to focus on. Hare Krishna. You ever feel the need to find fault? You ever wake up one morning and go, today's the day. I'm going to find fault with 108 people. Like, that need is just like driving you, motivating you. Do you ever have one of those days? Like you're so upset. If anybody just gets in 5 feet of you, they're going to be dust, Don't get near me, Prabhu. You'll regret it. You know that? You ever have a day like that? Times like that, you need to drink more water. I am the taste of water. Rasoham apsukonteya. And there's ginger in this water, so I am the taste of ginger water. And there's lemon in it also. I'm the taste of lemon ginger water. The essence of everything is Krishna. So any kind of drink you have, that is, that's Krishna. PMS. Okay, you're going to blame it on PMS, right? Okay. I mean, I can't comment on it because I never had PMS. At least I don't think I had it, unless men have their own version of it. I don't know. What do we have as men? We have, yeah. We don't have emotional distress because we don't feel emotions. So that's like, that kind of solves that issue. It's not an issue. If there weren't any women in the world, I don't know, psychiatrists would, they wouldn't have so many clients because our emotions, like, we don't even know we have emotions. So how do you feel? I don't know. What are you feeling right now? I don't know. Which is kind of okay if you're, otherwise, if I start feeling, I'll realize I'm not feeling good. I'm Krishna syndrome, the IKS. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Are you suffering from IKS? What's that? I'm Krishna syndrome. Yeah, I've been suffering for a long time. It's really painful. Going to my local guru to get cured. Hare Krishna. Okay. I'm Krishna syndrome. Solved by the mantra, I am servant of Krishna. Attention, ladies and gentlemen, we have an important announcement. Breaking news, you are not God. What's the difference between self-care and self-love? Self-love is an aspect of self-care, as is self-acceptance, self-compassion. If you like, I find it so much easier to explain this in relation to our caring for somebody else, because when we explain it for ourselves, especially as devotees, it's hard for us. We're thinking, I can understand caring for another devotee. I can understand loving a devotee. That is totally guilt-free. There's no sugar or fat in that, right? But when I say care for myself, love myself, I think that's full of sugar and fat. I can't indulge it. Yeah, I indulge in that. It's like, but why is it any different? So no, it's ego, it's this and that. Why does it have to be ego? Why can't it just be you're caring for yourself, you're loving yourself so you can be in the optimal position energetically, consciously to surrender your life to Krishna and save the world? Why can't it be like that? Why does it? Why do you have to think it has to be selfish? You know, well, that's a philosophical misunderstanding. We did an exercise yesterday where you say good things about yourself. And I've done this exercise before, and people with low self-esteem, as soon as you ask them to do this exercise, they freeze. They go, I can't do this. I can't do it. I'm like, why? I don't like myself. Why? I'm not a good devotee. That's, you know. So would you deal with somebody else that way? Most cases, the answer is no. I don't have a problem caring for somebody else. I don't have a problem for loving someone else, just myself. But if it's good for someone else, and it would be bad for someone else if you didn't care and love them, why do you think not caring and loving yourself is Krishna conscious? It's a mathematical equation that doesn't make sense. Does it make sense that that doesn't make sense? Does that make sense to you, that what I just said doesn't make sense? Yeah. We have this big fear, you know, care for myself. That's like, oh no, that's it. Total Maya. I'm just thinking about myself. Okay. If you don't want to think about yourself, I got a really good idea. Stop eating, stop sleeping, stop doing sadhana, stop doing service, because all that is good for you. And since you don't want to think about yourself, you shouldn't do that, because that's really selfish. So I want you all to feel like extremely guilty when you go to bed tonight, because that's like so selfish, because you really shouldn't be sleeping. And when you eat your next meal, you should just bathe in guilt, because that's so selfish to eat. And if you ever have nice thoughts about yourself, turn them off, because that is so selfish. Hare Krishna. That's when I speak that way, I have to give myself another name. That Nama Yama Niyama Das Swami, is speaking. Yama Niyama means rules and regulations. So when I say things like that, I'm wearing the head of Yama Niyama Swami. Don't feel anything. Don't think anything. Just serve till you drop. That's perfection. Just turn everything off. Turn your emotions off. Just tolerate everything. But Prabhu, the devotees are abusing me. Just tolerate it. Take the abuse. It's Krishna's mercy. Yeah, but I'm ready to go into the mental hospital. It's all Krishna's mercy, Prabhu. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Just get out on Sankirtan. Save the world. You know? And then we see that devotee, you know, few months later, you know, what happened, Prabhu? He said, oh, I was totally surrendered. I surrendered myself right out of Bhakti. It's a name for another book. Don't surrender yourself out of Bhakti. Surrendering oneself out of Bhakti. Have you seen that before? Someone's like so surrendered that they like, you know, it's like way beyond their pay level and they burn out. Yeah. Okay. And let's go back to the next question. I think this is the last question, and then we'll go to your questions. Okay. Yeah. Tamagun and Rajagun are both because of lacking self-care. How can I get rid of the influence of Tamagun? Stop eating tofu. That should solve your Tamagun problems. Okay, you can eat tofu. I don't think tofu is sattvic. What do you think, Matura? I don't think it's sattvic. I think because tofu has come on the scene, devotees stopped eating paneer. What about according to Ayurveda? What about Ayurveda and tofu? I don't think tofu existed when they wrote Ayurveda. Most beans are not like the best things. Highly processed, GMOs. So that'll solve your Tamagun problems. Just stop eating soy. Give up the soy sauce and you'll be fine. Hard to digest, highly processed. Yeah. Doesn't even taste, it tastes horrible unless you do something to it. But now I'm offending all the Chinese devotees by saying this. They'll never talk to me again for offending their tofu. Well, of course, it's better than eating meat, of course. Yeah. So here's the same answer. Tamagun and Rajagun are just weights on your ankles. How do you get rid of Tamagun? Clean your room. Number one, keep your house in order. Like right after class, I have to clean my office. I didn't want to show you. It's not bad, but it can be better. So clean your room, keep clean, rise early, and associate with people who are sattvic or vishuddha sattvic. Rise early, have Mangalarti, study Shastra. These are all the things that keep you in sattvagun. Otherwise, the whole world's in tamagun. So if you're not trying to stay in sattvagun or vishuddha sattva, then you'll just bottom out into tamagun. I feel strongly that when you descend into tamagun, because your willpower is so weak in tamagun, the best way to get out of tamagun is either get in a car accident that shakes you up and makes you realize you better be serious about Krishna consciousness. But I wouldn't, voluntarily volunteer you to like crash your car just to get some realization. But if some tragedy happens in your life, it really shakes you up. But what I'm suggesting is get good association, because good association is it's like a slap in the face. It can knock out, good association can knock out problems that you could never knock out on your own. It's just that powerful. I'm sure we all have experience of that. You're dealing with something, it's on your mind, it's burdening you, you can't figure it out, you can't let it go. It's an attachment you don't need, you don't want. And some devotee says, "Hey, Prabhu, that's nonsense. What are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, you're right." And it's gone. After 3 years of fighting with it, one sentence, it's gone. You ever had that experience? Any of you? Just like, like somebody's just like, they just saw right through you. They said one word and it was like gone. That's the power of association. So, when you're ever struggling with anything and when you feel like the world has you down on the ground and how does it go? When you feel like the world has you down on the ground and you just can't live another day, something like that. When everywhere you look, you can't find an answer. Time to throw your hands up and say, "Where's association? Give me association. I need association." Run for it. Association there's a science behind association. And what psychologists have discovered, I think I mentioned this yesterday or the day before, what scientists have discovered is that the consciousness, you will pick up and mirror the consciousness of another person. What they're feeling and thinking, you will start feeling and thinking. I mean, think about that. If you need to feel and think like somebody more advanced, all you have to do is hang out with them and you'll start feeling and thinking like that, which is really really good to know if you're deciding to get married, because you're going to become very much like that person you married, because their energy is like on you all the time, and it's working on you and it's affecting you. And when people get married, they just like the body, and they like, well, this guy likes to drink a lot and I like to drink, so let's get married. They don't really think it out, but this person you marry, they're going to have this major influence on you because you're always around them. And that energy, you're going to just pick it up. And you're going to become somewhat like that. Which those of you who've been married and are not now married can feel the difference, because there's not that effect. Or if you lived in the brahmachari ashram in the room with the wrong brahmachari, yeah, you feel the effect. And then you just change rooms. It's like, oh, this is much better, right? So this energy is, we all have energy, and it's coming out and it's affecting all the people around us, and we're being affected by it. So that's why association is so powerful. When you come into good association, it can change things, like drastically, very quickly. Hare Krishna. Okay, that's all the questions. Now we're going to answer your questions. And I just have to find them. Shalini says, I have a few distant family members who follow a different religious philosophy. They're very spiritual and kind. If they cook vegetarian food to share with me, is that okay? You have to offer it in your mind, but like properly. It's very rare, not often, but they're sharing with love. Yeah. Tell them when they're cooking, think of Krishna while you're cooking. And you can offer it. Yeah. See, there's a difference between exceptions and daily practice. You have to make exceptions, Prabhupada made exceptions. Exceptions are minor things because it's not every day. When something's every day, it's going to affect you. It's going to wear you out. If it's, visit my relatives and, eat what they cook, offer it to Krishna, whatever, that's okay. So Priya is asking, is talent meant for service to Krishna rather than to earn a living? Both. The Asian idea of earning a living is do what you hate or do what you don't just do what you have to do. It doesn't matter if you like it, so you can get money, so you can take the money and do what you like. That's the Asian idea. So I think this question is coming from the Asian concept, right? I have this talent, so what do I do with it? Do I use it to make money? If you can, that would be fantastic. Do I use it for service? Of course. If you can use your talent to make money, that is, a lot of people are like, nah, don't use your talent to make money. Just make money and then use your talents for hobbies. Okay, if that's all right, you can do that. But if you can't make money with your talent, then you're right in there with your Varna, integrated. Why not? Priyanka, yesterday's workshop, the reason of no self-care was that we try to feel numb so the pain is avoided. How to deal with it? Well, so the idea was, or the idea is, it still is, that we try to avoid something because of the way it makes us feel. So she's asking how to deal with it. All I can say is I heard a story by one teacher, self-development teacher, and he said, every day take a cold shower because I want to train myself to do difficult things without being mental. So I just turn on the cold water and jump in the shower and do it. I said, I like that idea. I like that. It's like training, you get used to it. Like every day, I don't want to do this, but I do it. Like we get out of bed early in the morning, we don't always want to. So we definitely need to train ourselves to face emotions that are hard to deal with, because if we don't face them, they don't go away and they harm us. So understanding that is a huge step forward in facing them. The next point is they will not go away, or the methodology for curing that problem is to actually face it head on and feel and face and allow yourself to feel the emotion. Because the emotion it's all this energy, right? And when you neglect it, it stays there. It's like solid energy, it won't move. But when you face the emotion, it starts to disperse. So when you understand that I can't, by running away from this emotion, it just stays hard and firm and remains there and it acts on me. But by facing it, it starts to dissolve. So if you have a painful emotion, you want to dissolve it, the only way to dissolve it is to go through it, which is painful. But once you start going into it, you start dissolving it, and said that painful emotion becomes dissolved. Isn't that amazing? That's so amazing. We should drink water to that. Let's have a toast. Cheers. That was amazing. So this is very important. It's very important to know. And I think if you know this, then you'll be less reluctant to face these painful emotions, knowing that once I face them, they're going to go away. They're going to dissolve. And the reason that they're still there is I haven't faced them. Because once you face them, you will also realize it wasn't as difficult as you thought. Have you ever been asked to give a class and you're thinking, I can't give this class, it's going to be too hard. And you finally do it, and then you come after the class, you say, that wasn't so bad. In fact, it was kind of nice. I kind of liked it. So you faced your fear, you sat up on that seat and you like went right into it. And when you started talking, the fear started dissolving. That's just how it works. But if you didn't face the fear and you called in 10 minutes before class and said, I can't do this, then that fear would just remain with you, albeit subtly, and it would be having this horrible effect on you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Prabhus and unprabhus, that was a joke. Prabhus and non-prabhus, masters and non-masters. The women, you're all servants, and the men, they're all masters. That's why things are messed up, because we think we're masters. Anyway, here's the bad news. When you have something you don't want to face that bothers you, it just bothers you out of your conscious. You're not consciously bothered by it, but you're subtly bothered by it. It may be out of your conscious awareness. And that subtle emotional disturbance is really unhealthy. And so if you're not in tip-top shape and you're wondering why, it could be because there are things you're not facing and you're not aware that they're actually there and they're actually harming you. So that's also something to consider. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. ITIKS. That's the syndrome. ITIKS. ITIKS. I think I'm Krishna syndrome. We have some medicine for that. And you have to take 16 pills a day and it'll cure that problem. I think I'm Krishna syndrome. The ITIKS syndrome. Take 16 pills. You can take them in any 16 straight, 4 a day, anytime. Just take 16 a day. It'll cure that problem. Just make sure when you take them, no meat, fish, eggs, no illicit sex, no intoxication, gambling. Did I miss anything? No intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating. Yeah, just make sure you don't do those 4 things while you take that medicine, and then it'll work. Midlife crisis. Yeah, Manish is saying midlife crisis. Yeah, Manish, midlife crisis. Remember when you were a teenager? That was teenage life crisis. Remember when you went to university? That was university life crisis. Remember when you graduated and that was like corporate life crisis? Yeah, it's just one crisis after another. Get used to it. And learn how to deal with it. And then nothing will be a problem. Anyway, you know the good news. I think the Christians say this, you know, all things, what do they say? It won't last, you know. Like no matter how bad things are, this life will be over in a flash. So, you know, it's not a big problem. Even if it seems like one, it's not forever. Okay. This is from Markandeya, all the way zooming in from Italia. Buongiorno, Markandeya. Over criticizing and blaming oneself due to a lack of self-care, self-love, care, compassion. We should consider that like a Vaishnava aparad. Yeah, that's so funny. You say, Prabhu, I'm really making big offenses to this one devotee. You should do this. You can have fun with devotees. Say like, I'm really making big offenses to this one really nice devotee. And like, who? Say, me, myself. I'm offending myself. Vaishnava aparad. Wow, I'm offending myself. And you're thinking, no, that's not Vaishnava aparad. It is Vaishnava aparad. You're offending yourself. Vaishnava aparad. Hare Krishna. Didn't we read that in level 1? That when you don't take care of yourself, that's called self-hatred. So you're hating it. Okay, then you're thinking, oh, Mahatma Prabhu is drinking that yesterday's lemon water, you know, it's a little alcoholic. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Wait a minute. I can justify with Shastra everything I say. Do you know that in the Shastra it says, if you kill yourself, you will be guilty of the sin of killing a Brahmin? Did you know that? Have you read that before? Heard that before? Yeah. So on that basis, Markandeya is right. Here's our new mantra for today. Here's the title for today's class. Self-hatred is Vaishnav aparad. What a cool title. You like that title? Here it is, today's class title. Can you read it? No? I can't write it in Spanish. Lato what?
Auto-odio.
Audio?
Yes.
Audio is hatred. Audio. Yes. Vaishnava what? Aparad, offense, offensivo de Vaishnava. Something like that? Yeah. That's a great point. Okay, so your service for today is, or if it's late at night tomorrow, you're going to go up to some devotee and say, I've been offending, like for the last 50 years, I've been offending, or however old you are, I've been offending this really nice devotee. And they're going to be like, why? And just keep saying this really nice devotee till they ask you who it is. And you'll say, who is it? And you'll say, it's me. See what, and they'll just go, oh my God. And that's going to be a great service you can do. Hare Krishna. Okay, class, when it says the sign comes out, that means Gaurmani's coming, and it means class is now officially over. Hare Krishna. So I think I'm going to officially disappear because, as I said, Krishna's waking me up every morning at 4 o'clock, so I don't really need to chant now. And I could do well to do other things at this moment. So, Hare Krishna to everyone. Stop offending yourself. No more Vaishnava aparats to yourself. I'm going to send that out to all the students because I didn't even think of that. Thank you, Markandeya. That's beautiful. I think that will help everyone. Okay, Gauramani, I'm going to disappear. The show is yours.
Hare Krishna Gurudev.